This is Andy Goldsworthy, British sculptor, photographer, and environmentalist who really cared about conserving nature. He would create art in its natural environment, only using things he could find in nature. Here's an example of Andy using vibrant colors only from the leaves he could find in nature. It looks like he might have used some paint in this artwork, but he didn't. He just found different colors of leaves and spread them out to make it look like the tree base was glowing. Andy Goldsworthy's artwork focused heavily on balance and symmetry. Symmetry is where both sides of an object look identical. If we were to draw a line straight across this work, it would look the same on each side. He achieved that by using sticks and the reflection in the water. Here's another example of where he's laid out rocks of different colors to create a perfect circle. Again, it may look like he used paint, but this is the natural color of the rocks. Another point of emphasis with Andy Goldsworthy was the use of pattern. Here we can see he repeated not only different types of leaves, but also colors to create beautiful patterns in his artwork. Here's another creative example of how he made pattern in his art, this time finding a moss-covered tree and using mud to paint lines. Something else that made Andy Goldsworthy's art really special is it wasn't meant to last forever. Sometimes it only lasted a few days, weeks, months, years, or even moments. We call that transient art, and he was okay that his art wouldn't last. He made sure to take a photo of the art in that moment, which would preserve it forever, even though eventually this snow would all melt away and not exist anymore. Here we can see Andy Goldsworthy actually made some art in the city. Not having many elements of nature, he took water and brushed it onto the sidewalk. I bet that didn't last long. All right, as you may have guessed, today you will be creating your very own Andy Goldsworthy inspired nature art, wherever you're at. Your first step after this will be to go outside and to find whatever materials you can, whether that's leaves or sticks or old vegetables from your garden or rocks. Maybe you don't have any of that. Maybe you'll just need to make some art in the dirt or in the sand, or like Andy Goldsworthy, painting water on the sidewalk. It's really up to you. If you were here, I would take you out into the forest and we would find what was there. So before we go ahead, let's take a peek at a couple examples that some past school crafters have made. They're pretty neat, if you ask me. This one's called A Heart of Golden Sand. And you can notice the patterns that were put into the sand around the heart. And then also the use of little pieces of leaves inside the heart to create pattern. This one's called Tiki Man in the Forest. And this student used leaves and sticks and rocks to create a little figure. This one's called the Statue of Enri, and it's actually a little teepee made of sticks. But these students use many of lines from the sticks and the shadows to create a pretty cool creation. All right, I couldn't let you school crafters have all the fun. I had to try this out. So I headed into my backyard to see what I could find. I found some pretty cool looking leaves from the trees as the colors are changing. I found some stuff in my garden, like this old broccoli plant. I found a bunch of crab apples in a tree nearby and a few mushrooms here and there. And to top it off, a couple of flowers. Then I took my time assembling my Andy Goldsworthy inspired art. I found a spot where there wasn't too much wind. For me, it had to be on the concrete. For you, it could be anywhere. But just like how we found all of our elements in nature, we want our art to be in nature too, if we can. And don't forget the things that make Andy Goldsworthy art his art. We want to have patterns from the leaves and other materials we use. We want to have symmetry and balance. If you were to draw a line down the middle or across my art, it looks pretty close to the same. And remember, this art is not meant to last, so make sure you take a picture. All right, enough dilly-dally. It's time to get outside and make our very own beautiful nature artwork, inspired by Andy Goldsworthy. Before we do, let's go over the few things we learned today. First, in our artwork, we want to use pattern. The repetitions of lines, shapes, colors or anything in art. That was key in Andy's art. Next is symmetry or balance. If we were to split our artwork in half, either way, we want it to look the same on both sides. I can't wait to see what you guys create. Don't forget to take a picture so that it lasts forever and then submit it to Google Classroom. Have fun!